Republican Party lost drastically when they first formed their third party back in 1856. But they stuck to it, and they continued to lay the basis and build the groundwork for future success, and they were successful.
But they were building, were they not, on the dissolution of another party? They were building on ruins. Do you expect one of the two parties to meet its ruins for you to build on?
Well, I think when you look at the Democratic Party structure, especially in this country, while on the surface they appear to have mended some of their fences, when you dig under the surface a little bit, the dissension and splits within the Democratic Party are drastically serious, and we think the party is in grave trouble. Your what's called the New Left, led by McCarthy, is apparently going to split off on their own eventually. Your Democratic Southern representatives and leaders are quite unhappy with the National Democratic Party, and they tend to be drifting away from the Democratic Party. So the party is splitting in many directions, and I think that the trend will continue until there is no more Democratic Party.
We're thinking in terms of using visuals to illustrate sex as such. No, we don't. Of course, in the physiology class, anatomy gets considered, but as a total thing. How does disease work? How does the circulation system work? What are the functions of body parts and this sort of thing? But that's in the total context of studying the human being and not as a matter of sex.
Some groups have criticized the Dallas system because they say it's not compulsory for every teacher to present the material on sexuality. What is your attitude and approach to this now?
Every teacher is asked to keep abreast, to know what is going on, to consider her groups and her area of instruction, and to be ready to do whatever she can do competently. We are not trying to force any teacher to go beyond her degree of competence and not to go beyond her state of readiness. And of course, we want her to look at her community and determine in terms of the age children she has, the area of instruction, and the community she's in, what's good and positive, and what can she do about it. This is the kind of emphasis we have. Everybody concerned, everybody party to it, but the degree to which person deals with this as such depends on these factors that I've mentioned. We have, for instance, involvement in the science area. We have homemaking classes that get into aspects of this. We have social studies and literature, the various areas. Now, we are not indicating at all here that we're not considering what others suggest to us and what other parts of the country are doing. We're simply evaluating. We may or may not eventually have courses per se. But at the present time, we don't think of this as being organized into courses.
On what grade levels is this material presented?
All the way through, from the beginning on through grade 12, of course, with different degrees of emphasis and different approaches. For instance, in first grade, we try to help children become sensitive to the various roles of members of the family, and this gets maleness and femaleness involved. It gets social relationships involved, but it's in a context that's bigger than sex itself or even sexuality. It's human relationships. We also get into such areas as how plants and animals reproduce themselves. But this is merely a matter of getting acquainted with the environment and seeing the interactions of living things and how life is carried on. Actually, we're more interested, we think, at this point, in developing concepts concerning sexuality, the whole being of a person, than sex education per se.
Senator Mosey, why does Texas need a minimum wage bill when the federal government already has one?
Well, there are about 400,000 workers in Texas who are not covered under the federal minimum wage law. As you know, to be covered under the federal law, the company involved has to be in interstate commerce. It's interesting that so many people in Texas are not covered. Most of them are industrial workers. I think we need a minimum wage law in Texas so that those employers who are presently covered by the federal law will not receive unfair competition from their business competition who are not in interstate commerce. I think this is a bill which will provide for competition in business in Texas, and I think it's needed.
It feels wonderful to know that I have got a piece of paper in my hand that I never have had before because I couldn't finish school because I had to take care of my first child that I had. And I think it's just wonderful. I don't know what to do. To others, it may seem just like just a little piece of paper, but to me, it really does seem like it's a part of my life because I never have been able to accomplish this until I got in the training school. And that I have really did a lot of things, and I have learned a lot of things since I've been in the training school.
What's been your friends' reaction to your going through the program and now graduating?
Well, they